Good Thursday morning. It's 5:30. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. And good morning to Miller over the Weather Center. How's it going, Miller?
I'm doing good, Victoria. How you doing on this Thursday morning?
Not too bad. You know, we got that Good Friday feeling for tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's just right within reach.
Oh, just
Feeling
around the corner. Here's something to put a smile on your face. It's still cold out there, but a little warmer than it's been the last couple of mornings when we've been getting up. And the fog, not an issue this morning. Now around Cut Bank, they still have some limited visibility with some fog socking in. But here in Billings, we're looking okay. 25 right now. Dew points at 15, so definitely drier out there. Winds around 3, so pretty calm. So we take a look at temperatures around the state in northern Wyoming, Dilling at 19, Missoula at 20, still seeing some light snow today. Over in Williston, we're at 15, down in Miles City, we're at 14, and Worland, we're clocking in at about 12. Winds not an issue. I think we got a gust up to about 15 yesterday in Billings. Livingston had a gust over 50 miles an hour, not out of the woods yet. You could see gusts. We're going to shift it now and say between 30 and 40 miles an hour possible today, but that will lessen as we get into Friday, so there's some good news there. Day planner, we're starting off in the 20s, warming up into the 30s by lunchtime, into the 40s for highs today. So we are going to start to get above normal as we see that flow coming in from the southwest. We may see 50-degree temperatures by Monday, but that's not going to hold on as we have models starting to agree that we have another cool down, big cool down coming, and that could give us a better chance of snow next week. We'll take a look at that with the main forecast coming up. Vic.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Miller. And I will get on to the news. Our top story this morning, President Joe Biden is again upsetting many energy producers, assigning several executive orders to address climate change. President Biden directed the Secretary of the Interior to press pause on any new oil and natural gas leases on public lands and offshore drilling. He emphasized it doesn't mean he's banning fracking, but he does want an increased emphasis on clean energy. President Biden is promising innovation to create new jobs and alternative methods like solar and wind. The president also announced the formation of a climate task force and said he will host a leaders climate summit on Earth Day, April 22nd. These issues were at the forefront of Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm's confirmation hearing yesterday. Both Wyoming Senator John Barrasso and Montana's Steve Daines pressed Granholm on potential job losses due to the moratorium. Daines asked specifically that the Colstrip Power Complex be considered as the Department of Energy test facility for carbon capture technology. A missing endangered person advisory has been issued for 3 Blaine County children believed to be on their way to Billings. Sierra, Kira, and Brea Scold were likely taken by their non-custodial mother, Valine Wingscold. She's a 5-foot-tall Native American woman with black hair and brown eyes. Wingscold is known to be violent and abuse drugs. They are traveling in a gold Honda Maxima. If you have any information on their whereabouts, contact authorities. COVID-19 has now claimed the lives of 83,000 people in 2021 alone. The White House is hoping to ramp up vaccinations during what's already the deadliest month of the pandemic. CBS's Deborah Alfarone has the latest.
The director of the federal coronavirus response had a sobering take on the crisis facing the country.
400,000 people have died. Everything is on the table across the whole supply chain.
The Biden administration's newly appointed team held its first public briefing on Wednesday. Its members warning that some 90,000 Americans could die of COVID-19 over the next 4 weeks.
I know this is not news we all want to hear, but this is something we must say so we are all aware.
The coronavirus is spreading rapidly and it's mutating. A variant first detected in the UK has now been found in over half the states. It's believed to be at least 50% more contagious.
I think the better way to think of it, rather than being more transmissible, is that it's just a little stickier. And so if you're exposed to it, you're more likely to get infected.
Experts say vaccines remain the key to stopping the transmission of the virus. Their rollout, though, continues to face challenges.
We're facing 2 constraining factors. The first is getting enough supply quickly enough. And the second is the ability to administer the vaccines quickly.
President Biden has described the fight against the pandemic as a war effort. CBS News has learned that FEMA has approached the Defense Department to help staff up to 100 federal vaccination sites. The agency is expected to ask the Pentagon for as many as 10,000 service members to run them. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
According to the CDC, over 20 million Americans have received at least a single dose of one of the COVID-19 vaccines. Once there is enough supply, it appears many Yellowstone County residents plan on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. That's according to a Riverstone Health survey. Out of about 4,000 responses, 69% say they will definitely take the vaccine and 10% say they probably will. About 16% say definitely not or probably not because of concerns with side effects, safety, and enough testing. 76% say COVID-19 is a major threat to the health of Yellowstone County residents. 2/3 of Americans have never been tested for COVID-19, which is startling to public health leaders because they say testing is key to slowing the spread of the virus. Reporter Chris Conti takes a closer look at some misconceptions Americans still have about testing and what it means for our communities.
Every day across the country, Americans find themselves waiting in line, waiting for a COVID test, waiting to find out if they've been infected.
I was sleeping 10 hours a night, plus napping during the day, which is not me at all.
Brian Horgan found out he had COVID back in November. His test, though, hadn't come from waiting in a line like this, but instead a preventative test he had to take before a trip to the doctor.
I had absolutely no symptoms. And when they called me the next morning to tell me I tested positive, I almost fell off my chair. I was stunned.
Brian eventually had symptoms, but prior to that, this 55-year-old didn't think he needed to get tested. And new research suggests that mentality may be adding to the spread of the virus.
There's still a lot of confusion around testing.
Mark Stevenson is with Thermo Fisher Scientific. They recently commissioned a survey to see what people thought about testing and testing misinformation.
We did the survey because we wanted to understand how people generally understood what testing was.
Of 2,000 people surveyed, nearly 2/3, or 64% of people, had never been tested for coronavirus. Doubts about test accuracy are also widespread. 63% of people thought COVID-19 tests can be wrong as much as half the time. 66% of people haven't been tested because they weren't feeling sick. 47% of people believe you only need a COVID test if you're feeling sick. All of this is troubling to public health officials who say testing is the only way to know how widespread the virus is.
It's often not until someone's either sick or has been in contact with someone that's sick that they think about, well, what test do I need and what should I do?
Misinformation is also floating around about tests. Only 30% of people knew the difference between those rapid antigen tests and PCR tests. The PCR tests are considered to be more accurate.
Believing in the accuracy of the test is just incredibly important.
As for Brian Horgan, he's now gotten his COVID-19 vaccine, but urges anyone, even if they aren't sick, to get tested as often as possible.
Most people tend to focus on what's directly in front of them. I would say get tested. Knowing is always better than not knowing.
I'm Chris Conti.
The CDC has guidelines for Americans on when to get tested, and they include people with COVID-19 symptoms, anyone who has had close contact with someone with a confirmed COVID case, and anyone who has taken part in activities considered high risk, like traveling or attending large social or mass gatherings. The Department of Homeland Security is warning the nation faces threats from violent domestic extremists emboldened by the U.S. Capitol assault. The agency is monitoring online chatter among those who may be inspired by claims the election was stolen. It says this heightened threat environment could persist over the coming weeks. At least 150 people have been federally charged in the Capitol attack. A new crime wave in Billings takes thieves moments to do, but has an expensive impact on businesses and residents. In the last 6 months, companies with fleet vehicles are being forced to unload thousands of dollars on repairs. Thieves are stealing catalytic converters off of vans and trucks. Q2's Andrea Lutz reports this item is a precious commodity for recyclers.
Stolen, stolen, stolen. I've had customers that have cars that have had the converter stolen off of them in Rimrock Mall. A couple of the local church vans.
At Silent Night Custom Exhaust, owner Terry Collette holds a stack of invoices.
It's a lot of people's heartbreak And I don't know what the cure is.
This is how many catalytic converters he's repaired in just 1 month. But this new epidemic of crime,
Approximately 140 cars
has been plaguing Billings
In what amount of time?
since August.
for months. Terry says these days a catalytic converter is a precious commodity.
The material that's inside of it is a precious trio of material. I believe it's platinum, palladium, and rhodium. It's almost infinitely recyclable.
Which draws big bucks in a matter of minutes with the use of a small hand tool.
Usually it's in the dark. They can crawl under something that's not very visible.
Lieutenant Brandon Woolley shows us where they've been tracking stolen items from in recent months. Most are commercial businesses with fleet vehicles.
Pickups, vans, SUVs. The catalytic converters are bigger, which can contain more of the precious metal that it has value to it. Those vehicles have higher ground clearances. That is easier for them to get underneath.
And local businesses are paying the price. Even downtown at our news station, an engineering truck of ours got hit. That's on top of Billings Public Works saying 4 of their converters were stolen off vehicles. And at a local county salvage yard, 30 of them were stolen off vehicles there.
Police say tracking this crime is near impossible because of no serial numbers.
This all kind of falls back to some of the drug trade too a little bit, is people are stealing this stuff to get money to support some type of a habit.
So here's what police say you should do. Keep your security cameras rolling in a well-lit area. Park your vehicle inside a garage if you can, or somewhere difficult for a thief to get underneath, because it can happen quite quick.
They can make a few $100 for 2 minutes worth of work and unlikely to get caught.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Police say look for anything suspicious. They add thieves nabbing large catalytic converters will need a large vehicle to do so, such as a pickup truck or a van. If you have any information on these crimes, call Billings Police to report it. The man who led authorities on a high-speed chase on I-94 earlier this week after an attempted abduction is being held on 3 felony charges. Documents show 34-year-old Terry Smith tried to kidnap a woman he didn't know. She is recovering from injuries. The woman was able to fight Smith off, and another person stepped in to help. Now we go to Helena, where Montana lawmakers want to tighten the rules on alcohol stings. Police sometimes recruit an underage person to walk into a bar and order an alcoholic beverage. If they get served, the bar could be issued a citation and face legal action. A new proposed law would restrict police from punishing a business until their 3rd sting failure. Bar owners say they understand the value of these checkups to keep their employees accountable, but many feel the laws are too strict.
What it should be, these should be learning opportunities. This is an opportunity for the checkers to make sure they're doing their job well. It's an opportunity for the employers to make sure that the policies and procedures they put in place to prevent alcohol access by minors are working.
Department of Revenue leaders reported about 400 compliance checks last fiscal year. About 20% failed.